We're just over 2 months away from NBA regular season opening night. Last week, we looked at ESPN ADP data. This week, we're breaking down the FANTRAX top 50 according to ADP. What a show we got in store. Let's go and win some leagues. G'day, guys. I'm D-Mac from NBA Fantasy Bible here on the Believe in Fantasy Basketball Network. Mock draft season is definitely ramping up. As I mentioned, we looked at ESPN ADP data last week. This week, we have FANTRAX data to analyze. And helping me break down the FANTRAX top 50 is another Believe in Fantasy Basketball expert, Matty.
Hey, man. How you doing, D-Mac? Mate, I'm better than your voice. Hey, how you doing? You're recovering after an absolutely massive week of just going into the data, really, isn't it? Just makes you sick.
Going
D-Mac.
into the data, a little bit of partying, perhaps, just going overboard on the ESPN data. But we're breaking down the FANTRAX top 50. I have been away. We wanted to record the other night, but it's probably a good thing that we're delaying the episode because just
Blessing in
ADP data
disguise.
changes every single day.
This has been the theme, man. We had this plan to go yesterday. You've been under the weather. We've got a perfect pair show coming up straight after this one, so make sure you tap into that because this is the exciting time of year where things start to shift and people start to ramp up. Fantasy football's getting there. Basketball kind of takes a little bit of a sideways step. But what we're starting to see, man, with this ADP data is massive shifts already. And I know that you've changed your presentation to reflect that slightly. The big news was because of the auto drafting, people getting maybe in startup leagues, so drafting down the line, maybe dynasty leagues. Tyrese Halliburton was still inside the top 50, even though he's not playing this year. He's dropped out today. We're going to speak to the fact that people were still trying to draft him early on here. So we're starting to get a more accurate picture, aren't we, of where we're going to be going in our fantasy season.
Yeah, and I think the way that we're breaking down this data, if you are drafting this early, and we don't recommend it, yes, you can exploit some of those rankings. But as we approach proper draft season, that ADP data will stabilize. But we're here to just break down some of the early data, and we'll track and trend that over time as we gradually get closer to NBA opening night, which is October 21. Not that far away, Matty.
Mate, I'm getting excited. My birthday is like a week and a half away. It's like 2 weeks away. I'm like towards the end of August. And it's always around exactly the same day. Like it's August 24. And for me, that signals to me pretty much 2 months on the banger from when NBA action starts. Because it's right around like the 21st or the 22nd or the 24th. It's like right in that October month. So yeah, man, we're about like 9.5 weeks away. And today, I guess the news was that there's the Dallas Mavericks and Los Angeles Lakers game in Vegas on October 12th. So we're going to start to get more information leading to the preseason as we go.
Absolutely. Let's just get straight into the FANTRAX top 50, mate. We will compare it against the ESPN top 50 as well. And really to show the juxtaposition between those two platforms, but also, and we spoke about it on the last episode, make sure you go and check that out if you haven't seen it. The difference between ESPN really leaning towards points leagues and FANTRAX on the other side of it, leaning towards category leagues. And we're looking at both, but today we're focused on FANTRAX. But the top 5 remains the same across FANTRAX and ESPN.
And I think the big news here is, although it remains the same and the top 5, the big thing that catches my eye straight away with this data is Giannis. Mr. Antetokounmpo is 7 on FANTRAX. Now, it's more of a category league specialization, you would say, in FANTRAX, whereas ESPN, as you pointed out, is very points-based driven. You can see there on FANTRAX why, I guess, in that perfect pair show, we talk a little bit differently about Giannis. He's going there at 7. But you can see in ESPN and Points League, he's basically 4 or 5. So there's a little bit more wiggle room. And you can't tend to see Giannis go at 7 or 8 in category leagues, more so than you see him go at 4 in category leagues, which is what was being reflected of the ESPN data. So for me, that was one of the big first signals. Like the top 3 is a lock, isn't it? Like we know who the top 3 are in fantasy by this point, D-Mac.
I think the top 3, if not the top 4, is a lock. And it just is trending towards Giannis being taken in the 5th slot in category leagues as well. I think people are okay with doing that heavy punt. I myself like to lean a different way, but we'll again talk about that during our perfect pair shows and in future episodes when we talk about balance versus punt builds as well. But yeah, that top 5 for me is pretty stable. Nikola Jokic in FANTRAX is actually more popular, and I think that's just reflective of his all-round game. And I don't expect that really to change between now and the start of the season.
Absolutely. Look, this year, we should be talking about it because last year it was like the new shiny toy and Victor Wembanyama should be number one. And he was the unmitigated number one pick, consensus almost come draft day. And look where that got you. I mean, yeah, he finished around that ballpark, but the availability wasn't there. And what you want is your availability. And for me, it's Jokic. For me, it's Shea. It always is. Last year, they both, funnily enough, played 74 games each. And what do you mean, Matty? Wemby played most of the season, 65 games, but he wasn't there when it counted. That's reflective of his draft day value already. People are more skeptical. He's sliding into number 3 quite easily. Luke is picking up the 4th slot. And again, with his -1 value being 4th, Giannis is going in there at 5th, but you can see his value in points league being the 2nd best player overall. And then in 9 categories and 8 category league, 67th and 48th. So he'll probably settle into 5th to 7th spot on your category league draft day.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to #basketball as well for last year's ranks. We'll be using those rankings and a lot of their tools this season. So thanks again to #basketball. So make sure you go and check them out. Now, thanks, Joey. Going to the next 5, Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards. That's actually been a shift over the last day. Ant was in 6 and Cade was in 7. They've switched over with the FANTRAX ADPs. Very similar.
Yeah, man. This is where it is getting woolly and freaking wild. The Perfect Pair show, when we were prepping for that one, that's just going to be one you have to check out. It's literally like a gunfight from this point in time in the first round. If you're in a 12-team league, this is literally, you are sweating. You're sweating balls at this point, man. Like you just like, I don't know who I'm going to get. Like people, managers on draft day are going to just be in a state of chaos from 6 to 12, aren't they?
Yeah, and I have seen some rankings there and thereabouts, and people have said Cade shouldn't be a first rounder. He's a bona fide first rounder. Just looking at that 9 cat, you'd go, DMAC, he's not a first rounder. But if you know where I'm coming from, if you've heard me speak before or post on Twitter, I do ignore turnovers. And we'll get into turnovers and assist to turnover ratio and just statistical scarcity in future episodes. But for me, I'm looking at the 8 cat and the 9 cat -1 values.
Yeah, look, let's call it how it is. Cade Cunningham, especially with the guard shortage, look, maybe it's a perfect storm and we're just clutching at straws left, right, and center here. We've got no Tatum in the first round. We've got no Tyrese Halliburton in the first round. I said it last show. We've got no Kyrie. Here's a fringe end of first round guy, early second round guy. You've got 3 bona fide first round guys who do not exist in fantasy basketball for the best part on draft day this year. I mean, Kyrie could come back in January. Like, he's an early season out. Maybe. But I don't recall the last time someone said, oh my gosh, guys, Kyrie Irving, super excited to play basketball. It's like super excited. Like, you're not going to believe it. Kyrie's going to come back early from his injury. He's so pumped. Look, yeah, he's excited to play basketball and he's a freaking magician, man. But he doesn't really rush back. So, like, I mean, this is where the perfect storm is for Cade Cunningham and Ant Edwards, really to see in a vacuum, just get sucked up draft boards into that first round and drop down there. Cade Cunningham was 11th last year. He finished 11th last year. Now that's first round. So we can't have the conversation that he's not first round when he finished first round with the -1 value. It's pretty unanimous that he's going to be there this year, man.
Yeah, and Detroit are on the up as well, and he's a fairly durable guy. We saw that last season, but of course, injuries can happen at any stage. And Edwards, interesting that he's got a more, I guess, a higher ESPN ADP compared to Cade Cunningham. But yeah, they're both there and thereabouts. They're very similar. The next 2 big guys, Karl Anthony Towns at 8, Anthony Davis at 9.
Yeah, this is where, for me, look, again, I've said it before, being on the court is your best asset in fantasy basketball. And when your name is Anthony Davis and you play 51 games last year after being traded to the Dallas Mavericks, and he was an absolute beast. He still finished the year as 4th, but his availability for you when you need him is just not there. So for me, you can see that he plateaus out there, but he's a bona fide top 5 guy. Like, he's a bona fide top 5 guy. For him sliding there, that's interesting. My biggest question here is not only the Harden thing. Like, let's put Harden in. Karl Anthony Towns, are people smoking something that you and I have a new drug that we haven't heard of yet? Because I know he's a first round player, but the fact is that he has gone so far up draft boards already to ninth is a little bit surprising. I know he finished there last year, but questions remain in New York for this coming season. Less minutes, more of a backup routine there. Does he play as much? Do you think that he settles at 9 or anywhere between 6 to 9, really? Or do you think he's a back end first round guy? Like, what is your gut telling you on the whole the new New York situation?
Yeah, no more Thibs. Mike Brown, I don't think will play him and the rest of the Knicks as hard as what he was played last season. So I'd expect the output to diminish slightly, but he is a safe pick. He's safe.
Yeah,
He's the
he is.
epitome of safe. So
35
I
minutes
think
a night last year. You think at 32-ish this year?
32, 33, getting them primed for playoffs. I think that's their ultimate goal. They'll play more bench minutes. So Miles McBride and these types coming off the bench may actually have a bigger role.
Yeah.
I think he's safe. He's a safe first rounder.
He's
And
a safe.
we'll get
He's a
into
safe.
number 10, James Harden. Even though they've got a stacked older squad at the Clippers, I still think he's a safe end of first rounder. What do you reckon, Eddie?
Mate, just safe as houses. Like James is going to do what he does. He's going to go to the strip club. He's going to eat his chicken wings. He's going to get his massive basketball court Chinese mural, the guys on the thing. That's amazing, by the way. That Adidas court that they put up in China of him.
Oh, so
incredible.
Good. So good.
It's so good.
Did you also
It's
see,
so
I don't know if he's wearing the fat suit again. I saw a couple of things on Twitter of him looking a little bit plump, which made me feel a bit better. But, James Harden, he's got that fat suit just hanging up in the closet, just ready to come out.
Chicken wing, chilling with my homies.
Yeah,
Macaroni. He's just at
prime.
Magic City. He's just at Magic City hanging out, like living his best off-season life. And good on you, James, for doing it. Look, he's great. He is going to be leading a team that has got its eyes on an NBA championship, or at least competing for one. And I know we say that every single year, but I actually feel that it's true this year with the Los Angeles Clippers. Like, they've really built around the core unit of him and Kawhi and Zubac really well. They've filled it out. They've shipped Norm Powell off. They got Collins in, which really does address a need for them. Like that small ball 5 lineup, that athletic younger lineup. Collins can do a really freaking great Kawhi Leonard impression, I think. Like, he's done it in Utah when they actually let the bloke play. Now, he's not Kawhi. So I'm not out here going, all right, did you just say that Collins is Kawhi Leonard? No. But he could definitely fill into that spot. He can add defense. He can add some protection. And he can add an absolute truck ton of offense to the Clippers lineup. And James Harden is going to be getting you assists all day long, getting you points, getting you some threes, and doing it on pretty bloody all right percentages.
Yeah, if the Clippers were a dynasty fantasy team, you know that they're all in. So they're in the win now window. So they're going to be playing Harden a lot of minutes. So I wouldn't have any hesitation in grabbing him in the 10th spot.
And I
so
think
an
he
ADP
shoots
of 10 is accurate.
And I think he shoots better after playing 79 games last year. 410 from the field last year was absolutely horrible for him. I actually think he's going to be better from the floor this season. For me, that was really bad. Like, that was his worst season since 21-22, when he actually averaged 410 the same. And he'd been at 440, 438. So I think he's going to see an improve in his field goal percentage this year as well.
There's a sneaky chance as well that his steals could increase. And just bear with me, it's because Brook Lopez is there and he may be a little bit more reckless on defensive end, maybe just going for those steals, the reckless steals, because Brook Lopez backing up against Zubac, he's the rim protector. So if he goes for those steals, he could be going for some cheapies and then a nice layup. He's got Brook Lopez to protect him there. So potentially he could increase on those steals.
Yeah, and he already averages like just 1.5 a game, which is better than your average. So he's actually, it's good. It's not very good, but it's good. 1.5 steals a game is good by all accounts and purposes. So for me, he's no slouch in that area, even though his defense gets a little bit laywayed. But yeah, I'm absolutely fine with him at 10.
Nice one. All right, moving into the top 5. The next 5, 11 through 15. Trae Young at 11, Steph Curry at 12, Devin Booker at 13. These guards, who do you prefer at this slot anyway? If you had a number 11.
Move on to, I just want to say move to the next slide. Like, it's an absolute, like, let's be honest. Where are we? I think it's Trae Young off the build off, but let's be like, oh, man, I don't know, D-Mac. You know
Well,
how
you
I
got
feel about
Donovan
this.
Mitchell at 15 as well. So
You've
KD's
you've
in
seen
there,
the
but what about
slides.
those four guards?
You've seen the bloody slides, mate. You know how I feel about this. You know the
I
prep for
know.
the next show. This is look for me right now. There is this absolute. We don't even touch on that show about Donovan Mitchell because of the amount of guards that are so similar who are just dropped there at the end of this one, and you can see that purely reflected here with Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell being down in that 17 range. It's Trae Young for me that's the first rounder this year. It's because of his absolutely incredibly elite assists. And with Tyrese Halliburton gone, like I don't think Nemhard or TJ McConnell are going to come out and start just doing their best Tyrese Halliburton impression. So we can't expect that. Like that's not a fantasy reality, if that makes sense. But what we can say is that despite his inefficiencies from the field, look, maybe he is miraculously better from the floor. Good on you, Trae Young. Maybe his threes come back. Good on you, Trae Young. We've seen him be first round. Maybe he's not, but with a consistent team, with Kristaps Porzingis, Jalen Johnson, hopefully, fingers crossed, playing a full season, and the French ambassador from Eurobasket, Zachary Ricochet, who is just tearing it up in that event right now, playing better and making a leap. Look, I see Trae Young as the guy, but then there's this bubble of guards that you can pair them up with.
And similar to what we spoke about with Kate Cunningham, people are looking at us going, why do you think he's a first rounder? 9 cap value, 41st, but same deal. You look at that 9 cap -1 at 15 with those top end guys at Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Kyrie, Dame Lillard as well. They're gone. They're gone for the start of the season.
There's no other two players. There's no other two players in the NBA that averaged more than 10 assists last year than Nikola Jokic and the league leader at 11.6, Trae Young. And although we always say that Trae is shit on defense, excuse the French, pretty much sure that was English, he actually averaged 1.2 steals last year, which rates as good. He was actually even more efficient than James Harden from the field last year. He was actually 4'11". So if we say that James Harden's a first rounder, we have the exact same conversation about Trae Young. And then like, oh, really? And like, yeah, he also takes 7.4 free throw attempts a game, which is pretty bloody elite when you consider it. He's shooting it at 875. He can buoy that for you with his 2.9 threes, his 24.2 points a game last year. Yeah, man, although he has the inefficiencies in rebounds and blocks and turnovers, which was incredibly high, 4.7 last year. That's just, by the way, murderous. And funnily enough, a league leader in turnovers. Yeah, man, he's punt that bad boy out the window. It's Trae Young for me. He's getting the nod.
I think he's got the edge over Devin Booker in that we don't know what will happen with the Suns. They could be tanking come the end of the season. Yes, he's got a heap to do. That's a team void of a whole heap of top-end talent now. He's going to dominate. He's a great roto player, but in terms of head-to-head, I just can't trust him come end of season. Steph Curry, we know what he is, and he's always going to be elite. Yeah, that's a tough one between Trae Young and Curry. I think I'm with you. I think I'll take Trae Young ahead of Steph. But yeah, it's a bit of a wash across those three. KD at 14, Donovan Mitchell at 15.
Fine with these. There's no point arguing or mitigating these guys. If you're getting Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell in your second round, we know what Donovan can do. He's been a first rounder the year before, a bit down last year, but still provides it. And when you're in a category league, you know, and you need those 40-point games every now and then to get you over the line on points and threes, and you just think you're lucky stars you've got Donovan Mitchell on your team, because that's what he can do every now and then.
He's got a high ceiling, doesn't he? He can just really have humongous games. And with Darius Garland out to start the season, he's going to start the season. Donovan Mitchell, that is, going to start the season extremely well. So
his Don is very good. Yeah,
his very is good. 16 through to 20, Domantas Sabonis. What do we think of this one?
Thank you very much for just go back one slide. Go back one slide. For if you're listening to this, we go from FANTRAX average data from 10.9, and then for Trae Young, this is how wild it gets in the second round this year as well. And I don't think people are really thinking about how wild the second round is in fantasy basketball until you look at this. We go from Trae Young, average at 10.9, And then you're ready to go to the next slide in a second. Check this out. You go 14.4. So it skips 4 positions of eligibility. It goes 14 to 17 to 17 to 17 to 19, 19, 20, 20, 21.
Yeah,
so
there's a big drop off. Yeah.
There's a massive drop off, and a lot of people just shuffling their hats around. It's almost like one of those, those cup games where like, hey, look, there's 3 cups in front of you. I'm going to hide Domantas Sabonis under one of these cups and move them really, really quickly. Which one's got Domantas Sabonis in it? And you're like, geez, I can't. I got Jalen Williams instead. Whoops.
But look at his and LeBron's ESPN ADP data, and that's truly reflective of a points league. They are extraordinary. They're first rounders in points leagues. But when it comes to category leagues and FANTRAX, there's a real drop off. I still think they're solid second rounders in category leagues.
100%. And look, there was a time you could get to Sabonis at the end of the second, turn of a third in category leagues. And you're starting to see that right about here. And that's where he does sit on that -1 data around that 20th. So if he starts to slide, look, Sacramento, I'm not sure what's going on there, but he kind of just chugs along and provides. I love LeBron James in the third round. I've seen him go already in drafts and some analyst drafts in the third round. And that's the value that I like. If it clicks over 24 and LeBron is on my board, I'm like a little meerkat standing on top of the rock going like, is he going to fall to me? Is he going to fall to me? And I kind of hope for that. In the second round is probably where he's going to maybe go this year. I would see Jalen Williams. This has been an interesting one. He is shooting up the board yet again. And there was a massive blow up last year I remember in like a big competition. It was shout out to the ball page, ESPN 11 cat league. There was a trade when Tyrese Halliburton was absolutely atrocious to begin the year. There was Tyrese Halliburton for Jalen Williams. And that's when Jalen Williams was a first-round value. I do not know that Jalen Williams continually sustains first-round value for a period of 82 games. Taking him at 20 is his ceiling. And we've already seen in some analyst leagues, Jalen Johnson, even coming back from the injury, has been D-Mac, you even mentioned it to me. Matt, do you think it's weird that Jalen Johnson keeps still going before Jalen Williams? And I'm like, I kind of do. Like, I actually find it weird. But Jalen Williams in the second round is maybe the price you have to pay. But I'm more comfortable at the end of the second, like the end of the second, early third round, just for some value. Because the guy here after Evan Mobley, we saw what he did last year. Decent enough for him. The guy that I'm actually more focused on right now is Tyrese Maxey at the end of this. Tyrese Maxey, if things play out well in Philadelphia or even moderately and they play him out there, this is a first-round guy we've seen who is falling towards the end of the second round. And I'm intrigued, D-Mac.
I'm intrigued as well. There's a lot going on in Philadelphia. Embiid, of course, supposedly going to be healthy come start of season. Paul George as well. Tyrese Maxey, is he the third option or is he the first option on offense?
He's the first option. Tyrese Maxey is their future. Like
he's their future, but is Embiid just going to go, hey, you know what, Tyrese Maxey, this is your team now. Is he ready to do that? Is he mature enough to do that?
Look, the whispers are he's not ready. Like he says he's ready, and then he's like, oh, we'll see how we go. The apathetic Joel Embiid is one I'm not here for. But they know they've got Tyrese Maxey healthy. They know they've got Jared McCain, their backcourt of the future. They know they've got BJ Edgecombe. Boner had a great breaks around the time last season. I reckon Boner alert. Whoo, whoo. Chub for Bub, hashtag. Do you remember that one? But you do. There you go. So for me, it's Tyrese Maxey that has the launch pad and the runway to be the guy that you can juice a lot of value out of. And I'm just really intrigued because if he sticks here, this is for me, just for me, he is a bona fide first round player. And he is just offering you all the upside in the world at the end of the second. And we've even seen him go in the third round. So when we say there's a glut of this is one of the guys that's like point guard eligible. That's just right there for me.
Potential future MVP, perhaps. And speaking of MVP,
Ooh.
If you'd like to support the Believe in Fantasy Basketball channel, consider becoming an MVP community member. Maddie, do you know what you get as an MVP community member?
you unlock all the benefits of question and answers. Robin Marks officially, I think he gives you his mobile phone number. I can't guarantee you that's.
In
I
home
can't
address.
guarantee and home address. You can just rock up. Hey man, I bought this chicken. I bought this salad and then some chips from the Charcoal Charlie's. They don't have Charcoal Charlie's where he lives. I'm pretty sure it's a Sydney thing. But you basically get all of the access to the experts. You get question and answers. You get to be part of the community hub. You get the active Discord chat, which has been absolutely popping off. The members and subscribers have been huge. Keep it rolling. Yeah, the link is just down below. There's a button, there's a subscribe thing, there's a like thing, there's a comment thing. Do all those things, then hit the MVP membership thing and be part of the Believe in Fantasy Network and Believe in Fantasy NBA. Make it your home for all things fantasy today.
Beautiful. Thank you, Matty. Now, getting
Thank
into the
you,
next
Dino.
5.
And thank you, Robin, for the invite to your house, apparently.
Yeah, we'll be there tomorrow. Jaron Jackson
Good.
Jr. at 21. How do you feel about that? You look at that ESPN ADP compared to FANTRAX. Huge discrepancy there.
Yeah, I wish I was a little bit baller. I wish I was a taller. I wish I was Jaron Jackson and playing 82 games. Look, Jaron Jackson Jr. at 21.8 is bang on the money with whereabouts he's going to fall. Now, you saw where he was last year. It was a discombobulate Memphis Grizzlies year. I don't think I've had a combobulate Memphis Grizzlies year now for a hot second, to be fair. But this is, and gosh, listen to the Perfect Pair show. This is not ASMR. I'm whispering it because we talk about Triple J right here.
You gave me tingles though, so thank you for that.
Thank you. It's what I'm here for, to be honest. Look, 21.8 in a category league is where he goes. But Matty, D-Mac, you see the data right there. Last year he was 37th. Last year he was 36th. And yeah, he was. And that's absolutely fine and fair. But the point is, people are looking to him to pair up last year. He played 74 games. His free throw percentage was down. He only hit 2 threes. The blocks were down a little bit for him. Again, blocks they can be a volatile category. They're not always a volatile category, but they can be. Defensive stats are volatile. But he also got you 1.2 steals last year a game. So if he can improve his field goal percentage to plus 500, improve his free throw percentage, which he's capable of, hitting 5.4 a game, getting to the line 5.4 times a game last year. If he can go plus 5, plus 8, if the rebounds go up. The thing with Triple J, man, is he is, for a big, or because of Zach Edey and the Big Ben in the middle, he doesn't rebound well, does he? Only 5.6 a game last year. The hot news here is not Jalen Brunson. It's not Scotty Barnes. It is now officially that people cannot trust LaMelo Ball, and he is now a third-round option because 25 to me signals the turn. It is the first pick of the third round, and welcome to LaMelo County. That's interesting and tasty.
Yeah, he's extremely divisive, but by all accounts, more divisive in ESPN as well with an ADP of 51.2. And we spoke about this last week. That presents huge value, but at 25.5, are you willing to take that plunge? He's there at the start of the third. Are you grabbing him there?
You're making me tingle. Look, my spider sense says no. It's like just suit me up and call me Tom Holland and ship me to Glastonbury, and I can film a segment for it because all my little hairs are standing up for LaMelo Ball. In the third round, I love to get frisky and risky. You know, D-Mac, you've said to me, dude, you've called me out and said, man, you get really risky after the third. I'm like, yeah, I do. Because I win with it. And it's because I make safe bets on safe players. LaMelo Ball is, this is going to sound so weird. You know how they go, I'd have to wear a double rubber. I'd have to wear a quadruple rubber to take LaMelo Ball in my draft at this point because I just do not trust the amount of games the bloke can play. And that's really hard, isn't it? And that hard is not a pun. It's just really, really hard to trust LaMelo Ball. And the problem is I want to trust him. I want to trust LaMelo Ball to be a really good, entertaining NBA player who plays more than the 47 games that he played last year. I want him to take the 21 shots that he took last year per game, 21.3, and I would like him to hit more than 405 of it. If this bloke ever turns into a 440, 450 shooter, he's hitting 3.8 threes a game, 25 points, 7.4 assists a game. He got a steal. he can actually like play defense if he gives a crap about it. He's the 40th player there based on the games he played and maybe what we've seen. But I really start to buy a drink at the bar at this point in time, and I see where the conversation can go. And if he's still there by any way, shape, and form in the beginning of the end of the fourth round, you're an absolute idiot if you pass up on him, because you take him, you see where he can go, you hope he starts the season, and you flip him into a first rounder or a second rounder if you can, who's going to be there.
And it's one of those moves that could make or break your season. We often say that you cannot win your league at the draft, but you can definitely lose it. But it may actually come down to who you've picked in the first 2 rounds and if you played it relatively safe. And again, we never know what injuries will do down the season, but if you play it relatively safe, maybe LaMelo Ball is more of a viable option. But yeah, you look at some of the betting for the Charlotte Hornets as well, and total number of wins. It's not pretty reading for them. A lot of people think they're going to be above. They're betting on the overs, which is great. And we may have even said that last season as well. We're always enticed by the fact that
do we say it every season?
One season.
We say it every
with
season.
The overs, I think we say it, and maybe it's only hit ever once. And it was probably that season that LaMelo actually played more than 50 games as well. And it's that one season that's really just keeping us enticed and keeping us interested in LaMelo Ball. Otherwise, he's just a glorified Joel Embiid at this stage, just a younger point guard version of Embiid.
Shots fired. Jeez, Mother Mary.
Yeah.
Joseph.
So for me, it's probably a little bit rich at 25.5. ESPN, on the other hand, 51.2. I think that's wonderful. So I'm more than comfortable doing it there in ESPN.
Which is, by the way, incredibly juicy value if you are in a points league, considering that he is the 21st ranked player in points leagues last year, and you're taking him at 51. That's over double value that you're getting back, which is huge. In category leagues, because of his inefficiencies and because of the turnovers and LaMelo not being present, you can take a hit. But it's the Bam Adebayo of the world, by the way, the next one. I don't mind that at 25. It's probably too early for me, but we're starting to see him being, but who else they got? Well, they've got Kel'el Ware, who's going to take a jump, and someone else we'll talk about very soon, I'm sure. Bam's fine here. I'd rather him later, but this is a little early. I'm more okay with the ESPN ranking of 36 right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's too early for me. And he's, for some reason, very popular this season. We saw last year that his field goal percentage did drop off playing at the 4 next to Kel'el Ware. I'm not convinced by him in the third round, at the start of the third round. Perhaps I'll consider him later in the third round, but I feel like he's really tapered off in his career. And from a dynasty perspective, it wasn't that long ago that it was considered a top 20 dynasty prospect. And that's really probably fallen towards closer to that top 40 now, which is not bad. He's still a great player, but he's not the guy that I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, man. Look, Bam's a great player, but he is now starting to have been around, and he's one of the veterans in the team, to be sure, in this brand new incarnation of what we see of the Miami Heat. He'll be solid, and he'll be solid, but we're talking about up and comers. This is continually blowing my mind the more we speak about it. It's the Ant-Man Thompson conversation that we'll have. Let's save that to at the end of this page. Let's go through this one. Let's leave Ant-Man Thompson to the side. Şengün, as we've seen before, really a draft day favorite. People go really high on this bloke, and then he is one of the guys who always cools off. The early ADPs we've seen in the past go really excited, like a Johnson in a whorehouse, basically, for Alper and Şengün. Everyone's I'll get Alpi. And then you see him in 9-cat 99th or 82nd and -1. He gets overdrafted a little bit. Jalen Johnson coming back. We've seen him going off the board. Josh Giddey. This is recency bias to how incredibly he was at the end of last season, not mentioning the awkwardness. The interesting slide of Chet Holmgren is the one that I'm really watching carefully here. Because Chet last year, we all know, was a second rounder, early third rounder. And now he's starting to show himself to be the end of the third round, early fourth round. And although the data kind of indicates that with him, it's also not entirely fully accurate of the picture that played out last year with OKC. Chet played only 32 games. His free throw percentage can increase. His blocks were excellent. his points average, his threes, like he's not great from the spot because he's playing power forward beside Isaiah Hartenstein, who finished 74th last year. But 32 games and 27 minutes a night. I saw some incredible work from Chet in the playoffs. I actually think he takes more of a leap this year. And I'm really watching him closely because if he is at the end of my third, if he falls into the fourth round, and I'm taking him. If he's at the end of the third round, be careful if I'm in your draft because I'm taking him.
Yeah, I love him at this spot. We did see his minutes restricted somewhat in the regular season last season. Isaiah Hartenstein really filled his shoes up last season, but I think, as you said, Chet Holmgren's going to fill up his boots this season and going to play some additional minutes, more confident in his body. He's 1 year older. And it actually is only one season removed from when he was just outside the first round as well. So I think it's a great pick in the third round. I just want to quickly go back to 28, Jalen Johnson. A lot of people are thinking he is borderline first rounder. FANTRAX ADP 29.9, ESPN 56.9. It was only a week ago that ADP in ESPN was outside of the top 70. So people are slowly finding him on draft boards. And I think you can attribute a lot of this ADP to the fact that he was lower on draft boards in mock drafts because he was injured. And therefore, we're looking at total value and total points. He was a little bit more difficult for people to find, and mock drafters were sort of overlooking it. But now he's coming in a little bit, and I think that goes a fair bit higher.
Yeah, I do too. And we've been in a couple of analyst drafts where someone just searches Jalen really quickly on their phone, like JAL, and just hits yes. And the top one that's coming up, maybe because of alphabetical order, is Jalen Johnson, and they're hitting draft very, very quickly because you're like, whatever. He's shooting up, and we've seen him take in, 2 or 3 drafts now? And this is analyst drafts that have taken him above Jalen Williams. And the conversation last year, which Jalen do you take first? Do you take Johnson or do you take Williams? Well, it turned out Williams was the better option because of availability last year. This is curious for me because FANTRAX being category leagues, and basically, let's be honest, man. Let's call FANTRAX how it is. FANTRAX is really like a lot of hoop heads. If you're a hoop head person, you like to use FANTRAX, like you're really into that, like you really use it. Like we know a lot of people who've shifted to that platform, and they're big. It gives a really good representation of the data, I feel. So around 30, considering he was in the mid-third round last year, he has not shifted his draft day position in a year, despite not being available last year. That's how high the hopes are of Jalen Johnson. But I've got to ask you, because I think you and I disagree on this one, about the high hopes of Amen Thompson at 26. He started back on draft boards. He finished the year last year in points league as 59, in 9 cat 57th, 8 cat 63rd, in -1 56th. And he is becoming the early mock draft darling. He is becoming the player you want to have right now in drafts. And are you sipping the Amen Thompson Kool-Aid here?
A lot of people know that I was massive on Amen last season coming into draft season. He was outside of the top 100. I said, you got to draft him. If it's your second to last or last pick, he has to be drafted. But I think you said that maybe we disagree. I think 28.8 is a little bit early for him.
Okay.
We got KD there as well. The wing depth is unbelievable. Houston are a very, very talented side, and I have high hopes for them in real life basketball. I think 28.8 is too high for Amen, but it's not far off.
Look, I
don't know about a third round pick.
Yeah.
And we did see that Fred VanVleet was somewhat restricted at times as well. And we saw Jabari Smith Jr. lose his starting role through injury and then through form, and Amen Thompson retain that. Amen Thompson's still a starter this season. What I'm actually really interested in seeing is how the rest of the team actually plays out alongside of them. Are we going to get a little bit more from their younger guys? Are they going to provide a little bit more backup for their starters? Or are we going to just see them run into the ground Thibs style and just play 36, 38 minutes per game?
Yeah, look, he played in the last 9 games of last season, in the last 30 days. Amen Thompson was the 19th ranked player. His field goal, he is the perfect complement player. Here's a spoiler alert, not mentioned in the Perfect Pairs show, but he is a perfect pair for your Giannis type punt free throw build. He doesn't get to the line much for a really athletic attacking player, because we always say these attacking players, don't we, D-Mac? Like, oh, they just attack the rim. Oh, they just attack the rim. Well, he attacked the rim, but he still only got to the line 2.1 times a game.
I
So
think the
that's
problem
just,
with him is he's too fast that no one can actually keep up with him to foul him.
and that's the thing. So this is a guy who, if 2.1 free throws is how many times you're shooting from the line a game, it's just you fouled once in the act of shooting. Like, that's not a lot of rim attacking. And so he was 578 from the field. Now, if he steps that up, he can crater that a little bit more for you this year. But he was 581 from the field, 11 attempts a game, 14 points. That's fine. It's the robust line that he offered you around that. 7.1 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 2 steals, 1.6 blocks, and such low turnovers, 1.3, because he doesn't handle the ball as much. Now, I think the turnovers, if he does end up handling to the ball, like as you said, with the Fred VanVleet thing, it can creep up. And this is the recency bias of that. I don't think he gets this value back on draft day. I love Amen Thompson. I love the Thompson twins. I love that whole energy, man. Like, you and I were in agreement last year. He's around late. Sure, take a flyer and see where it goes. Did it play out? Nope. Not until about halfway through the season, and they just unleashed him, and it was incredible. You know what I mean? And so
I think you could argue then that played out, because that's when you really need that value. And yeah, he was unbelievable down the stretch. Fantastic.
how many
leagues.
And how many people, by the way, dropped him early on in the year, and he was just sitting there throughout the season. Like, and that's when he comes on. So for me, taking him in the third round, the KD situation, what they're going to be doing there with, I'm not concerned by, but I really do think has some long-lasting implications for the Houston Rockets, which I do not see him bringing back being the 30th basically best player in fantasy this year.
Yeah, I think he's a better player when he is handling the ball, and Fred VanVleet's still there. It'll be interesting to see how they develop Reed Shepherd as well. So we know his pedigree, but he hasn't had the ability to really shine. And we've seen glimpses, a couple of games where he has been a starter and he's just lit it up. So are they going to develop him more this season, which means Amen Thompson's playing off the ball a little bit more? Very interesting. I'm in agreement with you. I don't think we disagree. I think he's too high to be taken at this stage in FANTRAX drafts. ESPN's probably more, that 35.5, probably more towards where I would be comfortable drafting him. But yeah, interesting nonetheless.
And there's some value in the next couple of rounds here. Let's go through these next couple of rounds here.
Yeah, let's get
after
to 31,
after Chet, it starts to get a little bit interesting here, because there's a little bit of ESPN like unders and FANTRAX overs, and then there's a massive flip and there's an over and over. We've got Pascal Siakam, De'Aaron Fox, Derek White at 34. And these guys are all around the same picks. And you can see how consistent these picks are. I love this, D-Mac. I mean, I have no problem here whatsoever with any of these. They're all fine picks in the middle of the third round. Pascal, De'Aaron Fox, Derek White. He in ESPN points leagues, obviously, because the points leagues are less. He's at 43. Dyson Daniels in points leagues is being drafted 69th overall, because in category leagues last year, he was an absolute weapon. He's on 35. I expect I think is fair if you want to get frisky. I'm okay with around 50 for Dyson Daniels, only because I feel that Jalen Johnson playing a full season does ding his value. With Kristaps Porzingis there, I feel the steals and everything can be there. The open threes can be there. Paolo Banchero, this is a classic example, though, of the difference between ESPN points leagues and FANTRAX category leagues. In ESPN, he is 22nd in the ADP. Last year, he finishes 18th overall. So you can see the alignment. He is 35th in FANTRAX. However, this bloke even with his -1, he was 110th last year. He is like a Giannis 2.0 when it comes to fantasy, isn't he? Like, this is a bloke who, we love the name of Paolo. He's the big dog in Orlando, but mate, he can tank you in some areas.
Yeah, he's explosive. He's exciting. He's a better person to watch in real life than he is on your fantasy team. I've never had him on any of my teams, and I've had a lot of teams over the last few years, and maybe one day he just improves that efficiency, but I don't think it's going to be this season. And he's got Desmond Bane there as well, so he's taken some of the usage away from Banchero. I don't see it getting better, to be honest. So 35.5 is way too early for me in a category league. But like we said, points league, wonderful. He's close to the first rounder, if not a bona fide second rounder in points leagues.
And he may be the MVP of the Orlando Magic. And we've got a couple of Magic players still to come up and be mentioned around this draft day. But if you want to be an MVP, make sure you check out Believe in Fantasy. Links are down below. Become an MVP subscriber to the channel and the Discord. Get access to the live Q&As and all of the information direct from the source. It is available for you right now. Make sure you click the link down below here on the YouTube. And wherever you get your podcast, like and rate it. Give it 5 stars. Give it 5 thumbs up if you can. Or just grab your wife's phone or your girlfriend's phone or maybe someone else's phone who you don't know as you pass them by in the street and make them subscribe to it as well, because we'll be giving them the same advice, because you and I are in agreement that Cooper Flagg at 36 is about where he's going to go. And this is precisely signifies the end of the 3rd round of drafts. He is either going in the 3rd round right now, or he is going straight off the board in the 4th round. This signals that in points leagues, he's going a lot higher, funnily enough, in ESPN 23. 36, this is his time to shine.
Yeah, I think that's going to rise. That ADP of 36.5, I could see that coming into closer 100%. To the second round, where ESPN is at the moment with 23.1. A lot of people are concerned. They saw him in Summer League, and he was pretty inefficient in that first game. I'm really excited by him. I think he's got a wonderful fantasy stat set. So 36.5 is the basement for where I believe he will be drafted. Doesn't mean I believe that that's the value that he'll return. I think with Kyrie Irving missing the start of the season, I think his value is going to be sky high at that point of his career as well.
And we also saw him, and we also saw them running. Yeah, we saw him running point guard. So we're wondering who's the point guard. Well, in Dallas, well, they're going to run a bit of the ball through Cooper, which I thought was really interesting. And they actually played that out in Summer League, where they're like, we're just going to let Cooper handle the ball and see where we go from here. So I do think he does see some ball handling around, but this is where he's going to be. Another couple of picks right here. Talk us through the rest of these, mate.
Yeah, Tyler Hero at 37. I like Tyler Hero. We alluded to him earlier when we spoke about Bam Adebayo. I think Hero is the better fantasy prospect on the Miami Heat team. 38.6 after you look at some of those rankings from last season. 27th in 9-cat, 24th in 8-cat, 29th in -1. So very consistent in category leagues. A bit of a drop-off in terms of points leagues. He is efficient. He's decent with his shooting. He is sneaky good with steals as well. And for a guard, pretty decent with his rebounds as well. So I think this is very appropriate. 38.6, happy with that.
Yeah, and look, that's where about he's settling down on draft days right about now. And we can see him pretty much going there and be okay with it. Miles Turner, this is the new team, new reaction kind of feel. This is almost, I feel, his ceiling. We're drafting him at right about now, whereas ESPN, being a more points basis, 72 is fair. But this is about his peak of his powers, what he can do. He hasn't been returning that value, but we love Miles Turner and what he can do.
Jaylen Brown gets less blocks alongside of Giannis, or because there's less talent on the team, he's got to do more offensively. Where does that rank in terms of his overall value?
He takes Lopez's place. Like, again, it's like a shifting hats thing. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, what does he do? Like, he's also been inconsistent for blocks, which is a pain in the ass. Like, let's be honest. Like, every single time that we talk about like this bloke. And I like him. I'm a massive Miles Turner fan. I think he's fantastic. He finished 34th last year in some of the rankings. I love it. And then he finished, if you go back through the rankings, he's 48th, 49th the last 2 years. And then we have the glory days of Miles Turner, 22nd, 28, and 18. So this is a first 3 rounds guy. And so to still be talking about him as a 3rd round guy now, and for the last 2 years when he's played 77 and 72 games respectively, to all of a sudden give him the adulation that he gets back to that? Is it because he averaged 2 blocks last year again? Well, his assists are criminally low. His points were down last year. His threes were up. His free throw percentage is average at 770. His field goal percentage was down last year, 480. Like, it stunk last year. It wasn't that bad since 2021. So when I think of Miles Turner, I'm like, do you do it? And I'm like, sure, but is there better? Maybe. And for me, this is where I'm like, you're drafting him at his ceiling without getting any value. And you know me, I know you, we advocate to get value on your draft day. This is not value for Miles Turner. Him falling in the 50s is value. This signifies maybe around too early for me right now.
And that's the name of the game. For you to be successful in fantasy, you need to get that value on draft day. It's fine taking some safer picks because you know they're going to be there. They're a set and forget sort of proposition like Tyler Hero. But you do need to get that value. And if it's incremental value throughout every single round, or if it's a few rounds, that's where you get success. But Miles Turner, like you said, I think that's at ceiling. But it's one of those ones where I'm okay with it if you are in need of blocks. I just feel like you can get blocks later on in the draft as well. And we'll get to a couple of names shortly. We'll finish out the top 40 very quickly. Jaylen Brown at 39, Desmond Bane at 40. Brown is going to have a lot to do alongside of Derek White for Boston. My concern here for Boston is the tanking.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be really pushing these guys. They're waiting for Tatum to get better, come back from the Achilles, reload for the following season. Are they going to be playing Jaylen Brown close to 80 games this season and Derek White the same? I don't think so, but some feel like he would be able to do that.
And some feel that Boston is a championship pedigree team and we can make it work with Peyton Pritchard and we'll see where we go. Well, yeah, this is where Peyton Pritchard and the supporting cast will probably get more of a run than the blokes that are Derek White and Jaylen Brown, who they value as franchise players, to be frank. And here, this is where you're taking him early and you're hoping that he starts and plays well and you're packaging him in a trade and you're getting back someone who's going to play all 82 on a championship contending team. Because for me, there's a bit of risk involved. I understand the appeal. He's also not a great category player, to be fair. So for me, this is fine, but I'd rather make better choices in my life, like taking Desi Bane at 41. This is where I'm fine with it. I'm very fine with this. Taking Desmond Bane in the 40s, perfectly okay.
Yeah, do you think Desmond Bane loses a lot of usage alongside of Banchero, alongside of Franz Wagner and co, or is he just going to be about the same as what he was in Memphis?
I think he actually goes into a better situation. Is that crazy to say? I think this is a better situation.
I think it's a little bit crazy. We saw him really thrive when Ja Morant was out, and he was doing more of the ball handling. And
this is why I'm not crazy. This is why I'm not freaking crazy. Because he doesn't have Ja Morant. Like Ja Morant, I like. He's explosive. He's awesome. And I'm not like an anti-Grizzlies guy. I'm an anti the Grizzlies have hurt my feelings because I wanted good things for them being the young, gritty side, and they ended up not being that side. And if you look at Desmond Bane and you think to yourself, yeah, we can't use that guy, I have some probably issue with the organization instead of the player because I never hear a word bad about Desi Bane. I see him put in work. I see him try and lead a team even through the crappy times that Memphis have gone through a couple of years with the injuries. But this is he goes into a side that seems young and dynamic and there for each other with a defensive mentality, which I think he really brings that grit and grind to. He comes in and takes place of guys like KCP. He comes in right now with guys like Jalen Suggs who have that mentality. Paolo Banchero, who's a good team player, who's excellent, loves to pass the ball and play around. Franz Wagner's very same, that European style and pass it up. I think Franz is the only guy who takes away a little bit of what he does, and that's an interesting fit. I see him definitely as a secondary ball handler. I see Jalen Suggs very okay with giving up the ball and playing some 1 and 2 with him. I think Desmond Bane had a really shocking start to last season. People thought he was cooked. The word cooked was thrown around quite a lot with Desi Bane. I know I traded him off in a league, and then he sent me a message being like, you idiot. And I was like, what do you mean, Desi? And then I never heard back from him again. I just watched his stat lines explode. And I don't want to make that mistake ever again on him.
But yeah, he messaged me saying, stop making fun of his weird arm photos. Yeah, just those very famous ones. There's a little bit of continuity as well because he's got his ex-teammate and Tyus Jones at the Magic now as well. So that will also help that transition across. We're going to finish out the final 10 of our top 50. Speaking of Franz Wagner, he's at 41.
This is what we said. Like the guys around the Orlando Magic after Pala go off the board come off really quickly. Desi Bane and Franz Wagner. The guy who I'm really interested here, and I love this. This is where I said you could start to sink yourself into some juicy value. And this is with Vooch. Yes, I said Vooch's value. I know people might be like, what? I'm like, no. I think Vooch's value around here, he is Mr. Consistency. He just does his freaking job. And whether he's going to be on the Chicago Bulls by the end of the season or in greener and other pastures, he will just continue to be him. And he kind of goes under the radar now because he's not a sexy name. Jamal Murray here at 42, though. Oh, that is tasty. This is a tasty pick right
That's
here.
very tasty. I don't want to let you off the hook though, because we had a lovers tiff last
Yeah,
episode
we
talking about
did.
Luka Vucevic. Talking about his ADP for ESPN of 31.5, it sounded like you're okay with it, and I was very much not okay with it.
Yeah.
45.9 on FANTRAX. I'm more comfortable with that.
See, this is where
Yes,
I'm
there's
comfortable.
always those
It's
trade
like,
talks. The trade talks
yeah,
around him, and that's always happened. And you put up a great argument last week. I would be okay. And even if he is moved, perhaps he's still going to be the starting center. 45 is more acceptable, but that 31.5 call, that was a bit outrageous, but I'll still
no,
give him the
look, I don't,
flowers. It's a nice
I
call.
don't, look, I don't think it's outrageous at 35. I don't think it's outrageous. I think outrageous is me saying he's without a doubt, you're an idiot. I think outrageous is if I say, you know what, you're a dumbass if you don't take this bloke in the second round. I think that's outrageous. I think that's outrageous. I think being comfortable admit, like, you know what, there's a certain type of build that I want. There's a certain type of thing that I need. Can Vucevic provide that for me? Sure. And taking him in the third round, late in the third round, mind you, I never said anything better than that. I said the third round for a guy who has historically been the 28th best player, the 53rd best player, the 34th, the 38th, and the 16th. I'm comfortable with it. No matter what he's done for the past 6 seasons in NBA, 5 seasons in NBA fantasy, I think we can see a very similar thing in the 6th season. And that is someone who returns around the mid 30s. So 35 to 45, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you absolutely have to lock him in the third round. Like, that's pretty much a soapbox I'm not going to pedal. But I'm okay with it if it's meeting a few of your expectations if you build, because he does get a little bit of a bump in by way of some of his stats. If you want a high field goal percentage, some points and rebounds, and you want a decent efficiency from the free throw line, Vooch can do that for you. He can drop in some threes, but don't expect anything of defense or any very flashing passing game. Like, he hasn't hit more than 3.8 since 2021 season. So, like, you don't expect much, but you expect him to do his job, and that's what he does. Jar is a continual delight and then underlight, and I think that here at 45 to finish up this one is Zubac. People are overdrafting on what he did last year. I don't think we see the same, even though I love Zub, and you know he's one of my favorite players, and I think one of the most amicable guys in basketball. I don't see we see the same again this year.
Yeah, I don't think the fall off is as much as we think it may be with Brook Lopez, but I still think 46.5 is a little early, but I'm okay with him in the 50s. But speaking of 50s, let's round this out. 46, Austin Reeves. 47, Darius Garland. So Reeves, again, one of those safe picks at around this point. Darius Garland will start the season injured. And so that's sort of reflected in the ESPN ADP. FanTrax sort of ignored that. FanTrax data suggests that his ADP is at 47.2. So I think that's okay. I think that's decent value there.
Yeah, and we've already seen him go anywhere in drafts between 50 and 80. If he misses the first 2 or 3 weeks, this is fine. And this is decent enough value, and he can return this for the rest of the season. Austin Reeves here, completely fine. Like, he really came on last year, and he's going up draft boards where last year his ADP data had him in the 80s, and he returned and he eclipsed that value. He's kind of one of the guys who's like just kept it and done it.
And he looks okay next to Luka as well. We were concerned that a lot of his value would be diminished, but he actually looked quite good.
I know so many people who emergency traded him in leagues last year when Luka arrived, like before he really took the court, and they were proved wrong. Right here is the interesting thing. Tyrese is out. Let's not even worry about him. He's gone back to 50. There's some monochrome of decency here. He is at 51.2, which means people are still drafting him and putting him in IR spots if they're keeper leagues, perhaps, or if they're dynasty leagues. Great drafting. If you're getting him in a keeper or a dynasty league at 51, well played. You'll probably win your championship next year. The Joel Embiid thing is tricky. We've seen a legitimate first-round talent now fall to the 50s. Like, it's a massive drop off. But right here for me, Kawhi Leonard is so good at 48. If he's there on my draft board at 48, this is where can I soapbox this one, D-Mac?
No, please, because I'm up there with you. This is boner alert.
Stand with me. Let's hold hands and put up the megaphone. You're a damn fool if you're not drafting Kawhi Leonard in your NBA fantasy basketball draft at 48. If you're looking at Kawhi Leonard dead second in the face on your draft board, and you're thinking, oh, do I do it? Yeah, you do. You do it right here. You do it right now. right here, right now, you draft Kawhi Leonard, you lock him into your fantasy team. He's going to be healthy to start the year.
Yep. And it's the
There's no.
first off season that he's been healthy,
Yep.
coming into preseason, coming into the regular
Yep.
season, that it excites me. And we know of his upside. We know per game he can be a top 10 guy in category. So getting him around 48.5, 49, that's gold. That's gold. And that's league winning, that move there. But I understand there is tentativeness, there's hesitation around getting him because he's just had that history. And yeah, load management is just a Kawhi thing, but I'm okay. I think it's fine.
I'm okay there because you know what you do? You draft him, and then when he's injured and doesn't play the back-to-back, you put him in your IR spot, and you just bring in the best free agent to fill that gap for the day.
Absolutely.
That's what you do.
What we didn't show is that Tyrese Halliburton was the 50th in ADP as of yesterday. But if we actually go to today's data, he's been replaced by Trey Murphy III, which we love him. We love Trey Murphy, and particularly in category league. So he's moved into the top 50, 52.5. And I'm okay with that. I think New Orleans will have an improved season. We're always hoping for a healthy Zion Williamson season, but it could be the year and it could be opportunity for Trey Murphy. And yeah, if Zion's healthy, that means we take away usage from Trey Murphy. Yes, but maybe some of the attention has moved off of Trey Murphy. He's got those outside looks. He's got the open laneways. He can just really finish. He's such a multifaceted player, and I love Trey Murphy.
Yeah, you know I love Trey Murphy. The one thing interesting is this. Trey Murphy's a really hard asset to move in fantasy basketball. He's a fantasy darling for the hardcores and guys like us. Like, we know how good he could be. He actually at one point last year was first round value for a period of like a month. And I had him in pretty much every league we were in, didn't I? Like, you were like, do you not own him? And I'm like, no, I own him pretty much everywhere. Love Trey. Looking forward to going down and watching him in Melbourne play live this year as well. Got media for that. Can't wait to go and meet him and the team. That'll be sick. I'm really looking forward to it. Love him. Love that he's getting this respect on his name at the 50s. For me, again, it's the Pelicans question. Like, what do they do? Because I think this is a year we need to see him operate fully, the whole team operate fully. It's a stacked Western Conference. It's hard, but Trey Murphy's an elite player. And to know that you can get a top 30 or 40 player around the 50s, you want to take that value. That's around one round of value edge you get. If you can get one round every now and then, awesome. If you can get 2 rounds once in your draft, great. And if you can get the magic lightning bolt where you get 3 or 4 rounds of draft value once or twice, that really shifts your pendulum of winning your league.
Yeah, hesitation is around the game's play, but as we said, if we can get a healthy Pelicans team and somewhat competitive, I think that's going to be quite fruitful. But guys, now that you know the top 50 according to FANTRAX ADP data and how that compares to ESPN, we saw that beautiful juxtaposition with a lot of players. Check out more from Believe in Fantasy on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also find me on NBA Fantasy Bible. I've got my channel. Matty, what else do you have going on, mate?
Mate, you can get me right here on Believe and at the Old Man Squad with the take. We've got something cooking. You and I have got something cooking with a couple of our good friends in fantasy we were talking the other day with. That's coming up really, really soon. Look out for a big notice from that. And check out me on Twitter and on Instagram at NBAGWiz.
Wonderful. Thank you, Matty. Thank you, everyone. And until next time, catch you guys.